tamaha. Vishwam atmagatam venjan kutasto jagadankura swatejasa pibat tivram atma prashvapanam tamaha. Vishwam atmagatam venjan kutasto jagadankura swatejasa pibat tujesa swatejasa pibat tivram atma prashvapanam tamaha. Word meaning: Vishwam, the universe; Atmagatham, contained within itself; Venjan, manifesting; Kutastha, unchangeable; Jagat Ankura, the root of all cosmic manifestations; Swatejasa, by its own effulgence; Apibat, swallowed; Tivram, dense; Atma Prashvapanam, which had covered the Mahat Tattva; Tamaha, darkness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: Thus, after manifesting variegatedness, the effulgent Mahat Tattva, which contains all the universes within itself, which is the root of all cosmic manifestations, and which is not destroyed at the time of annihilation, swallows the darkness that covered the effulgence at the time of dissolution. Purport: Since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is ever existing, all blissful and full of knowledge, his different energies are also ever existing in the dormant stage. Thus, when the Mahat Tattva was created, it manifested the material ego and swallowed up the darkness which covered the cosmic manifestation at the time of dissolution. This idea can be further explained. A person at night remains inactive, covered by the darkness of night, but when he is awakened in the morning, the covering of night or the forgetfulness of the sleeping state disappears. Similarly, when the Mahat Tattva appears after the night of dissolution, the effulgence is manifested to exhibit the variegatedness of this material world. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurau Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganagar Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktarvrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vishwam Atmagatam Venjan Kutastho Jagadankura Swatejasa Pibat Tivram Atma Prashvapanam Tamaha. So, in the beginning of this chapter, chapter 20, which is titled as Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, Lord Kapaladev has explained about Purusha, Prakriti, and Jiva. Lord has given what is a Purusha. Actually, these verses are so good. Anadir Atma Purusho Nirguna Prakrite Paraha Pratyek Dhamat Swayam Jyotir Vishwam Yena Samanvitham. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Super Soul, and he has no beginning. He is transcendental to the material modes of nature and beyond the existence of this material world. So this way, he explains about Purusha, and he mentions about the three modes of material nature. Gunair Vichitra Srijitim Sarupa Prakritim Prajaha Vilokya Mumuhe Sadhya Saiha Jnana Guhaya. Divided into varieties by her threefold modes, material nature creates the forms of living entities, and the living entities seeing these are illusioned by the knowledge covering feature of the illusory energy. After listening to these verses about the Purusha, Prakriti and Jiva, then Mother Dehuti gets inquisitive and she wants to know everything about the unmanifested and manifested creation. So that's where she asks in the ninth verse. देवतिर्वाच प्रकृते पुरुषस्यापि लक्षणं पुरुषोत्तम ब्रूहि कारणयोरस्य सदसच्च यत् आत्मकम्. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, kindly explain the characteristics of the Supreme Person and his energies, for both of these are the causes of the manifest and unmanifest creation. So with this cue, Lord Kapiladev, he started explaining about manifestation. So what is the manifestation and what is the creation, unmanifested creation, manifested creation? How does it all work? So he begins explaining the different elements of this material creation, right? How many elements are there? There are 5 gross elements, 5 subtle elements, 4 internal senses, 5 knowledge gathering senses, and 5 outward organs for action. So basically, he explained about the 24 elements. Okay, so what are those elements? 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. 5 subtle elements: smell, taste, color, touch, and sound. 4 internal senses: mind, intelligence, ego, and contaminated consciousness. And 5 knowledge gathering senses: auditory senses, the sense of taste, the tactile sense, the sense of light, the sense of smell, and 5 outward organs for action: speaking, working, traveling, generating, and evacuating. So these are the 24 elements of this material world, right? Those are the 24 elements of Pradhan, basically. Now, all these elements are in the unmanifested form in Pradhan, okay? And he adds another point, which is the time. Time is crucial. Time agitates this Pradhan, right? We might have heard in the previous verses. There is a Pradhan. Pradhan is in unmanifested form with all these elements, 24 types of elements. And when the time factor comes in or mixes up with this 24 elements, that agitates. Okay, so that is and it is also considered as 25th element. Okay, now he talks about time. What is time? Time is fear of death, and because the living entities get attached to this material energy, they get like that fear of death, right? So he talks about they're worried about when we are going to die, when we are going to survive, and all those things. And then he slowly talks about what is Pradhan. Pradhan is neutral. It is unmanifested. It is a seed form. Okay, it is just a seed. Okay. Now, with the time the agitation happens, now the Lord Karnodakshay Vishnu, he glances on this creation, on this Pradhan, right? In the little agitated form. Then what happens? He glances through the Pradhan and he impregnates this nature or this Pradhan. That's when that Pradhan will turn into Mahatattva. So today's verse, which is Sri, so today's verse talks about Mahatattva. It actually started from yesterday's verse, verse number 19, and we can go and check it. So that verse basically, 19th verse. Daivat Shubita Dharminyam Swashyam Yono Parah Puman Adatta Viryam Shashwata Mahatattvam Hiranmayam. After the Supreme Personality of Godhead impregnates material nature with his internal potency, right? Material nature delivers the sum total of the cosmic intelligence, which is known as Hiranmaya. After impregnating, that Pradhan or the material nature will turn into Mahatattva. That Mahatattva is in a golden form, right? This takes place in the material nature when she is agitated by the destination of conditioned souls. Basically, Lord impregnates all these material, basically all these living entities into the Pradhan, and that takes place after the time factor has been added to that Pradhan. Okay, so now in today's verse, It explains Vishwam Atmagatam Venjan Kutasto Jagadankura Swatejasa Pibat Tivram Atma Pashwapanam Tamaha. So here, thus after manifesting variegatedness. So what is the meaning of variegatedness? Variegatedness means variety of things have been added, right? Manifesting them, very different things have manifested in that pradhan, which is turned into Mahatattva now, right? That effulgent Mahatattva, which contains all the universes within itself, which is the root of all cosmic manifestations, and which is not destroyed at the time of annihilation, swallows the darkness that covered the effulgence at the time of dissolution. Okay, so we have Pradhan, we have Mahatattva, and we have Prakriti. To understand these concepts, let's dive deep into these 3 points. We talked about Pradhan in the previous verses. Now in the yesterday's verse and today's verse, we're talking about Mahatattva, and there is something called as Prakriti. Devotees give a simple example. If a girl is born, let's say a 5-year-old girl, she is considered to be Pradhan. Just a very material example, but it makes sense, right? 5-year-old girl is a Pradhan. A girl who is mature and ready to get married, right? Vadhu, then youthful girl is called as Mahatattva, because she has a capability to, when she gets married, she has a capability to create a child, or to create a child. And Prakriti is like a 28-year-old girl who is already knows, like, she may have already children and everything. So this is on a higher level, this is a difference between these 3 words. Pradhan is like a seed form. It just unmanifested. There is nothing in there. It's just unmanifested form is Pradhan, right? When it is agitated by the time factor, and Lord enters it through the impregnation, like with the help of, or through his internal potency, he impregnates the Pradhan to make it a Mahatattva. So now let's focus here at the word Mahatattva. So Mahatattva, in the state of Mahatattva, it's like a it has everything. Basically, earlier it was unmanifested, now it is manifested, but manifested is not manifested completely, but the elements are in there. For example, let's take our community kitchen example. We have in the community kitchen, we have all the ingredients required to make any kind of a feast. Okay, let's say we will have tomatoes, all the vegetables, tomatoes, potatoes, karela, all the vegetables are there. We have spices, cardamom, cinnamon, all these kind of different spices. We have flours, right? Wheat flour, rice flour, ragi flour, all those flours we have. And we have rice right now, right? Brown rice, all the rice we have all the pastry elements, everything what we need, or butter, everything is there in the kitchen. Okay, but when Jayaprakash Prabhu goes to the kitchen, he just have to go and use all these things to make, he can make anything out of it. You know what I mean? Let's say if he has to make a Janmashtami quinoa, so he just picks the ingredients, he combines them and makes a quinoa. So like that, the kitchen is fully prepared. The kitchen has all the elements in there. Similarly, Mahatattva has all the elements, everything required to make this or to create this material world. Then Brahmaji comes in and he picks whatever he wants. Like, like he picks, all the elements are there, and he makes before that also, even before Brahmaji comes in, the ingredients are there to create multiple universes also. There are multiple universes, multiple things, and out of which Brahmaji comes in and picks whatever he wants, and he creates, let's say earth, he creates moon, he creates sun, all the elements are there. He creates all these manifestation of this material world happens from the Mahatattva, because Mahatattva has ingredients. Where does that ingredients come from? If they were in the seed form, meaning they're in the unmanifested form, in the that is called as pradhan. But by the time factor, when the time factor was mixing, it gets agitated. Okay, first thing is time factor, which is energy of Krishna, agitates the Mahatattva, and then comes the Lord himself. He impregnates all these living entities into this Mahatattva, basically into the Pradhan, to make it a Mahatattva. So what happens is, like, he glances at the Pradhan and he impregnates the Pradhan to push through his internal potency, to push through all the living entities into the Pradhan, and that becomes Mahatattva. And the color of Mahatattva explained here is Hiranmayam. In the previous verse is Hiranmayam, which is a golden form, and it is very affluent, right? So now in this verse, it's saying that when this Mahatattva appears, all the darkness which was existing so far will disappear. So where was this darkness came from? This darkness came from dissolution. If you remember, in the previous day of Brahmaji, a dissolution happens, right? Everything will burn away, all the manifestation will burn away, and nothing is left. There is no sun, there is no moon, nothing is left. Everything is dark. Okay. Now, when the next day of Brahma starts about to come, then from the first light that comes from comes in this material world is from the Mahatattva. That's what they're saying here. So Tejas Va Pibhat. So this Swatejas, Swa means the Mahatattva itself is so effulgent. It doesn't have to create some light or some sun or something like that to have a light. No, the Mahatattva itself is so effulgent that the Swatejas, its own Tejas, its own effulgence will light up the whole manifestation. It was all dark before, but the light up is from the Mahatattva itself. It Hiranmayam. So it's golden effulgent form that lights up the whole manifestation or the whole nature or the material nature here. Okay. So what happens when the light comes in? When the light comes in, all the darkness which was there since the last dissolution is gone away. Tamaha will be Pibat. This light which is coming in from the effulgence of Mahatattva will completely remove. Pibat means basically it's drinking away the meaning it's basically making the darkness disappear. All the darkness which was existing will disappear. Yeah, so Atma Prasvapanam. So it was Pradhan was also covered with basically Atma Prasvapanam, which before the agitation, the Pradhan was also covered with the darkness. That Prasvapanam, that covering will also be removed with the effulgence of Mahatattva. So Srila Prabhupada mentions here, since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is ever existing, all blissful and full of knowledge, his different energies are also ever existing in the dormant stage. So in the dormant stage, after the dissolution, where would all the living entities go? They will go back and stay in the dormant stage, right? So as the living entities are part and parcels of the Lord, when the Lord is existing, all existing means they are existing eternally. Similarly, the living entities also exist eternally, but in the dormant stage. Okay. Thus, when the Mahatattva was created, it manifested the material ego and swallowed up the Pibat, swallowed up the darkness which covered the cosmic manifestation at the time of dissolution. This idea can be further explained. A person at night remains inactive, covered by darkness of night. So in the night, let's say if he's sleeping, there is no light in the room, there is no light anywhere. So it looks like he's covered up with the darkness, right? Similarly, but when he's awakened in the morning, the covering of the night or the forgetfulness of the sleeping state disappears. So this forgetfulness of the sleeping state disappears. Similarly, when the pradhan is there, when there is a dissolution, during the time of dissolution, everything is dark. But when the Mahatattva appears, when the Mahatattva is created by the agitation of the time and by the glance of the Lord, then that effulgence of that Mahatattva completely disappears. Sorry, completely swallows the darkness. Okay. the effulgence manifested to exhibit the variegatedness of the material world. So, yeah, to exhibit it, it shows all the different varieties of existence that is available in the material world. Okay, so the interesting word here is Jagad Ankuraha. So for Mahad, in this verse, Vishwam Atmagatam Vinjan, Kutasto Jagad Ankuraha. So Jagad Ankuraha. So what does Jagad Ankuraha mean? So Jagad means this material manifestation or the cosmic manifestation, and Ankura means root. Basically, Ankur, the sprout. Right? Ankur means a little root that is sprouting. So that is Ankura. A fresh root is Ankura. So basically, Pradhan was in the seed form, right? So that seed has turned into an Ankura, and that Ankura is of what seed? That seed is of whole cosmic manifestation. It is in the seed form, right? In the seed form, like we collect all the seeds during winters. From summer, we dry up all the seeds and we collect them and put them in a pouch and save them for the next summer. During the winter, we don't we just put them or pack them and capture them and put them in a pouch and save it for the next summer, so that we can use that seeds to grow plants again. Similarly, it's in a similar way. These seeds which are saved, I mean, the seeds are dried up and saved in the form of pradhan. Now that seed is sprouting, ankura, jagad ankura. What kind of seed is that? That seed has everything in it in the unmanifested form. That seed can grow into a big tree, right? The banyan tree, if you see, it comes from, they say that I have never seen it, but they say that this banyan tree grows from a small little seed. The seed is negligible compared to the size of the tree itself. So that seed has that potency to create or turn into a big tree with big branches, big multiple number of leaves, and many other things. But that all this manifestation is in the covering, in the small little form of a seed. Okay, so similarly, I mean, pradhan is in the form of a seed. That seed will turn into Mahatattva. That is, a sprouting will come, a slow sprouting will come. Um, Basically, the seed was agitated. The seed was given a right conditions. Like for a seed to sprout, what do? We get it close to the water. We what do you call it? Yeah, we basically we sprout it with the water and to give the certain conditions for that seed to sprout. Similarly, that pradhan, which is in the form of seed, was uh, given some conditions, some kind of situation, some kind of circumstances that the pradhan was put into. I mean, if we are saying the seed, it doesn't mean this pradhan is like very small, tiny seed. No, pradhan is also there, but that in the seed form means it's in the unmanifested form. Everything is there, but it's in the unmanifested form. It's in the seed form. And now, with the agitation of the time and with the glance of the Lord, the seed will turn, or the seed starts sprouting. The sprouting is basically an indication of a new, fresh life. Okay, an indication of something coming big, right? A manifestation. So that's what is happening. The pradhan is a seed which was agitated. Now this pradhan is turning into mahatattva. The sprouting shows that it is mahatattva. Basically, that seed when sprouts indicates that it has all the capabilities now. It is qualified enough to manifest into a big tree. Similarly, when the mahatattva sprouts, when that pradhan sprouts into mahatattva, that mahatattva has all the ingredients, everything. The another example of having all the ingredients is, let's say you have a laptop. So right in the laptop you have many different types of programs, softwares, like for example MS Office. MS Office will have its own Word, Excel, spreadsheets, sorry, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint, everything is in the laptop. And we have Adobe software like Photoshop, InDesign, many other, like, right? And you have Zoom, you have other things. So the laptop is one thing, Got it? Similarly, the Mahatattva is one thing, but it has many ingredients. As laptop has many software in it, similarly, Mahatattva is one thing, but it has many ingredients. So the user of the laptop, if I have to make a calendar, I'll open up the Photoshop, I'll open up the InDesign, I use the combination, I use the skill, and I make a calendar. I can design a calendar out of this laptop. If there is a user, office going user, what does he do? He just comes in and he checks his Outlook for the email communication. He can create a Word document. He can do a presentation, right? If we have to talk on today in this call, I just have to come up here and use a Zoom call, and the Zoom call will have a video feature where we're seeing and talking and discussing about the creation here. So like that, this laptop is one thing, but it has many features, right? Similarly, a Mahatattva is one thing, but it has many features. It has many ingredients. All kinds of ingredients are in there. So then the creation happens with the combination of all these ingredients, as we told about the example of Jayaprakash Prabhu also, like where a cook has everything in the kitchen. He just have to get in there and use the combination of the ingredients to make something good, something big. So all this manifestation creation happens in the material world using the ingredients which were already collecting in the form, which were already there in the Mahatattva, and which has sprouted from the seed of a pradhan. Okay, so yeah, so what do we learn from this? So what do we learn? So what we learn is everything comes from Krishna. Everything. We belong to Krishna. We ourselves belong to Krishna, right? So then what we come here empty-handed and we go back empty-handed. Then what are we doing? Like, what is the role? What is this ego? That is ego and false representation of ourselves in this material world doing. So everything belongs to Krishna. So we always try to yeah, everything belongs to Krishna. We always try to remember this word, and we remember this point that everything belongs to Krishna, and Krishna is the source of everything. Then we don't do anything. Like we just come here and go empty-handed and empty-handed. So in between this time when we're existing here, we have to realize, we have to glorify, we have to always depend upon the Lord for everything or anything we need. We cannot proclaim that everything is as ours. Whatever you get, whatever we are earning today, or whatever we have accumulated in this material world, it is because of, it all belongs to Krishna. Let's say, for example, if there is a carpenter, or let's say if there is a builder of the house, the builder of the house can build the house, but he cannot claim that the house belongs to him. There is a owner of the house, right? That owner has given some money and he has put everything, like, he gave ingredients, he gave the material, everything, he paid for it, owner. And the constructor, the builder, when he comes here, he may falsely imagine himself as the owner. Okay, that can happen. So that should not happen. We are the living entities, but here everything was created by Krishna. So we have to agree upon that. So with this, I want to close today's session. Today we talked about Mahatattva sprouts, and the effulgence of Mahatattva, which is in the golden effulgence of Mahatattva, covers all the darkness which was there since the dissolution. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna Prabhu. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day and weekend ahead. Weekend filled with festivities, first weekend of December. On Sunday evening, we are going to have Dura Prabhu, the author of Narsingha book, give a lecture on Narsingha Katha. We'll have program from 5. Also, Narsingha Yakya as part of the evening program with Dura Prabhu. So, you're all welcome. we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Shri Singha, Jai Singha, Jai Singha, Parahate, Jaya Padma, Ugraveera
महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंह विष्णुं भद्रं नित्यं नमाम्यहम्।
नरसिंह भगवान की जय।
जय।
प्रहलाद महाराज की जय।
जय।
Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas,
Vanchakalpatarubhyasya कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णववृंद की जय।
जय।
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीला
जय।
प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे
हरि हरि बोल। थैंक यू हरि कृष्ण। थैंक यू हरि
Hare Krishna.